pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the commissioner, note we got a couple of hanging chads here, so, and the reason is that we don't talk loud enough, so we need to speak up and use our... Thank you. Okay. Yeah, new addition to the council. Commissioner Perkins' wife had a baby.
Really?
Baby boy. And you got a... Oh, cool. Okay. So the baby is, what, 18 years, something like that.
She would have been 34 weeks per month.
Everybody's doing fine, but it's just going to take time to get them back.
Commissioner Garvelia.
Here.
Commissioner Story.
Present.
Commissioner Perkins. Commissioner Messerschmidt.
Here.
Mayor Condon.
Here. And Commissioner Wright, approve the reading.
Did everybody get their minutes? I hope you have an opportunity to look at those. I'd like to make a motion that the minutes be approved as written.
Second that.
Commissioner Garvelia. Yes. Commissioner Story. Commissioner Perkins. I'm sorry. Commissioner Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mayor Condon.
Yes. I'm going to skip around again tonight. We've been blessed to have an attorney come to speak with us tonight. His name is John Bigler. It's in reference to the litigation concerning the opioid epidemic. John, you want to say a few words about John?
Yeah, John's been a longtime friend of mine. Practice law. He's originally from Union County. Has a law practice down there. Also has a practice in Missouri. John's well versed. He's been a prosecutor. He's done civil litigation. Has some connections with some larger firms. In particular, a firm that he will mention tonight out of the Chicagoland area that deals with these opioid kind of. And I'll let him put more detail to this, but these kind of like these mass tort actions, they are very familiar with these. And John contacted me probably a month ago. We've spoken a handful of times now, and he's here this evening to let the council know some thoughts that he has with some other clients that he's representing from Southern Illinois, and moving forward possibly assisting Benton with the opioid epidemic concerning maybe some litigation we may want to get involved with. So, John, if you want to address the council.
And I appreciate you speaking and giving a little background. That will save a little time, and you guys hearing me out of order. I appreciate that too. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on the statistics of the epidemic. I would be shocked if opioids haven't touched everybody's life in this room, or friends or family, that someone's been addicted because they were treated by a doctor and got on pain meds. What has been happening in the last 2 years in regards to the mass tort stuff is you've got several classes that can be plaintiffs, okay? And it's akin to tobacco litigation. If you recall, years ago, the states got involved suing tobacco companies because they lied to us on how addictive tobacco was. They knew it. The nicotine, they're scientists, they had internal documents saying the nicotine was so incredibly addictive. They didn't care. They marketed it to kids, to the public, as a safe, and they did that for years, decades. And in those cases started to be filed. The state said, oh, municipalities, you don't have to be part of this, and we'll get money in from the state, and then it'll trickle down to the municipalities, and it never did. I don't know if any of you folks were on the board or were familiar 20 years ago, 15 years ago when those cases started settling, but your community, your council would have to almost ask for a grant to get the state money on tobacco money when your community was affected, just like the entire state was. And you'd have to, spend 2 weeks to write a grant for $2,500, portion of the litigation settlement money. It was a horrible way to do that, litigation. And so the plaintiff's bar, the mass tort guys got smarter this time around when they went after big pharmaceutical companies. And so they're filing on behalf of each individual municipality that wants to sign up. States are suing as well. You guys have a cause of action. It's, it's your police. You're spending a budget, and we'll drill into that, and I'll talk about that more if we need to, but law enforcement's a big way where you're damaged. You're paying for a police budget, and they're out investigating pill cases. They're out investigating domestics that were caused or evolved because one or the other party is out of it and is in a cloud because of opioids, and they get in a fight, and now your officers are dealing with, that domestic. They may not even drill down and understand that this is caused by someone being an addict or abusing the drug, or maybe they show up and think it's heroin. Well, most get to heroin via opioid abuse. Not all, but a lot do. So they may show up and think, oh, this is a heroin case, this guy's a heroin user. It wasn't, that's not how he started or how she started. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this and how your community is affected. Your healthcare costs go on. Sales tax. These people are getting so addicted where they're out of the workforce. They can't work. They're in a cloud. Their body goes through withdrawal if they try to get off of it, and then they get back on it. And so that's more of a soft cost. But what we want to do initially is get you signed up, drill down with your law enforcement budget, and back into some numbers. How often are they dealing with these cases? What percentage of their time is spent dealing with an opioid investigation or heroin death case, and where the person evolved into heroin from opioid? That's compensable. That's time that they wouldn't have had to spend but for the pharmaceutical companies in the late 90s, early 2000s, lying to everybody about how wonderful synthetic opioids were for treatment of pain. They knew better, they knew it wasn't, and they lied to doctors, they lied to patients, they lied to pharmacists, said, hey, prescribe this. Absolutely. They would take doctors on trips for, hey, you're prescribing a lot of oxycodone, or now it's fentanyl is a big synthetic opioid that's abused. So your options as a community is to go to the federal court or to state. I'm recommending that I've signed an assessor, Carbondale, and I say I'm the referring attorney. I'll stay involved locally and help get some data. But the Kawaja firm and Alan Schwartz firm up in Chicago are the litigation team that we'll send you to. But Carbondale's complaint's been filed, city assessor, still talking with Heron, still talking with Christopher. We've signed up your dispatch unit, Central Dispatch, or West Frank. I don't know if you guys use it, but it's a co-op dispatch. They spend time, their dispatchers spend time on sending officers out, dealing with these calls. The reason I'm recommending, 100% recommending we file in the state court is because we maintain control. You have a question, any of you have a question, send me an email, tell Tom, hey, ask Bigler this. I can get one of the litigation team attorneys on the phone. Those are the guys that are walking into court, litigating and pursuing this case for Benton. If we would file federally, we would never talk to the attorneys that are handling it in court. You might get to, you're just not going to get there. And this is why, because it may not even be the firm that signed us up, right, that we go with. Because that firm is not appointed on the committee. In the federal litigation, there's thousands of attorneys involved, and there's probably 5 that are, they call them committee members over municipalities. You have the same thing, you have 5 or 6 attorneys that are over hospitals as plaintiffs. Reservations, Indian reservations and the Indian population are much more effective because they're much more inclined to addiction than other populations. So they've got a division of just reservation, and then you have your states. And each type of plaintiff has a committee of attorneys. We would never get anything answered. Tom would ask me something, we're going to have to wait till we read it in the news, literally. So I don't like that. I'd rather, when I have a client and I sit here in front of you and face you, I'd rather be able to answer your questions. And so, and this worked out great. I was on the phone on drive from one meeting to another today with one of the attorneys. He's a retired judge out of Cook County, works with the Kawaja Law Firm, very well connected, in a good way, just, legitimate way. Spent 20 plus years on the bench in Cook County. Retired judge, now practicing law. He knows the system, and that's a big key in any jurisdiction. Tom and I were talking about that. If I wanted to get somewhere in Williamson or Franklin County, I'm going to call Tom. That's where he practices. I'm in Union County. Hey, what's this judge going to do with this type of case? I've got a real estate dispute. What's this judge going to do? I call local attorneys who know the judiciary, know what their rulings are, and when I vetted this firm to take my local municipal clients or you folks, I wanted to make sure I was going with someone that was connected, that knew the system and knew their way around the courthouse, and these guys do. Can't recommend them enough. What we need to do tonight is, if you're interested, it's real simple. You take a vote to be part of the mass tort litigation, to be a plaintiff, and go after the pharmaceutical companies responsible for the opioid epidemic that's causing your community problems. We'll sign off on a contract. There's a survey that I'll work with Brooke too. Is Brooke here? She is. You've seen some emails. So we'll work, and we'll work through drilling down and getting some data. And then hopefully within 30 days, we'll file a complaint that will be City of Benton versus about 25 to 30 pharmaceutical companies. I have copies of what we filed with Assessor and what we just recently filed for Carbondale if you want to review it. It's really interesting reading. Some of it's not so interesting, it's more legalese, but it's about a 300-page complaint. And we can get it to Tom or Brooke and they can print it out. You guys can read it or read it online, we'll email it. But we'll do something similar for Benton. And then they go and they do their work, and you'll have someone advocating for you and drilling down and trying to settle this for your community. Whether it's $10,000 or $100,000, there's no cost. It's a typical contingency case. If we don't get anything, you've got a little bit of time. Brooke and I probably have a lot more time, but it won't be a lot of time. We'll have a few hours involved in getting the data that we need, but there's no cost. If it settles, it's money that you can then put back into your community, either through law enforcement, training, to go deal with the epidemic. But as far as we understand now, there's not going to be any restrictions on the settlement money at the state level. The MDL, we're hearing in the federal court that there may be some restrictions, that you're going to get a portion of your settlement, and then they're going to hold back a portion and kind of control it like they did with tobacco money and make sure Benton uses it correctly. I don't like that. It's your cost right now over the last 20 years you've been spending. Why, when you settle, should you not be able to take that money, put it into your budget, and use it the way you see fit? So, again, I could get into a lot more detail on the state versus federal. It's just, to me, it's just not a question where I recommend my municipal clients go. I want to leave this with you. A lot of data, a lot of stats, and then underneath there is a copy of the contingency contract that will be signed off on by the mayor if you vote to do so. Give him authority to sign the contingency contract, then we're off and running. Mayor, I think you may have one. On the back page of that brochure are the two other firms, the litigation firms that are involved. The main guy I deal with is, like I said, Judge Castiglione, I think is how you say his last name. It's Frank Castiglione. It's an Italian name. But great guy, very sharp, and Tom can speak to this, but when you have someone who's been on the bench and then they go back into practice, they're some of the best attorneys because they've learned from all of us that have been in front of them litigating, and they see our work, they tear our work up, they critique our work, and they were practicing attorneys before they were on the bench. So I can't say enough about Frank and his team. When you see the complaints and you review the complaint that was filed for Assessor and Carbondale, I think you'll see what I'm talking about. Very well done. Any questions? Kind of covered, and this is a high level, there's a lot of detail, a lot of statistics in the brochure, and in the complaint you'll read a lot of the allegations against the pharmaceutical companies, but it's kind of egregious. You're going to read it, you're going to probably push back from the computer or push it away and say, I can't believe this. And what they did and how they lied to the country, and the doctors and the pharmacists. So
the data that you need will predominantly come from the police department?
yes, I want to see the budget. She'll send me budget
Okay.
information, and then I want to see exactly what the law enforcement, because that's really the hardest cost we can prove up. Because we have to drill down into it, because some communities keep better stats than others. Cesar, they do okay, but Carbondale's got really good stats. They just have to, it's just a bigger community, there's more officers, and so it was a little easier to drill down specifically on opioid cases and how much time they spent, what calls, on call, they tag it, going on a, heroin overdose or domestic or whatever, and they track that. But we'll get there, I'm sure.
I've got the police department working on it already.
Yeah, that's great, and I'd love to do a call and just kind of tell them my thinking, and there may be cases they're working on that they don't even realize it's an opioid-related matter. You know what I mean? That may be where you're going with that question, but...
Yes, and so you have the information that they need to be able to start connecting those dots.
So, John, basically, this evening, and what would be, I guess, the benefit would be a motion to, I guess, have the city opt out of that mass tort, and then B, to employ the services of these two firms along with you as a referring firm.
Correct.
To represent Benton in this matter.
Correct.
Okay.
So the motion, and I'm glad you pointed that out. So what we have to do by November 22nd, I'll work with Brooke. We can do it online. We just need to simply go on, fill out a form, and say we opt out. Because what the federal litigation, and it's all venued in Ohio. We could file a federal court here in Benton. It's getting transferred to Ohio. Okay. We file in Franklin County State Court. It's getting transferred to Cook County. That's the way Illinois is doing it. So it's all venued in one spot, whether you go federal or state. And the federal litigation, a little further along than the state litigation, but the feds have said, even if you're, as a community, haven't hired an attorney and you've got someone advocating for you, we're going to make you part of this mass tort class. And if you don't opt out, then you're in it. And you don't want to be in it. Because they're going to tell you what your damages are. They're going to, like I said, they're going to piecemeal it out to you. And I just truly believe that the state is the way to go. But we got to make sure that we opt out by the 22nd. So that, and I think you just need to, put that on the record that your motion is to opt out of the federal multi-district litigation, or MDL, and then give the mayor authority to sign off on the contingency contract, and we're off and running.
When did you talk to the police about it? I know nothing about that.
I talked to Mike about 4 o'clock today and said I sent you an email. Can you answer some questions?
I didn't know nothing about it.
They've got 30 days to resolve, to get these answers to him, Commissioner Story. So, this is something that, we'll, obviously, we won't go that route if you guys choose not to do this.
Right.
So,
It's going to take a little time, and they need to get their head around it. They need to think through, the traffic stop where someone is impaired. I just don't smell any alcohol. What's going on with this driver? He just seems out of it. And they find, someone else's pill bottle in the, those aren't mine. Well, it's a prescription for pain meds that person's been on. That time, that officer's time on not doing something else, that stop is damages, and but we have to put a number to it. How much are you paying that officer? How many hours did that stop take him to write that DUI, driving impaired ticket? And so we want the officers to be thinking that through to help Brooke and I kind of back into the number. What percentage of your budget is going towards fighting this epidemic? And when I say epidemic, it's not just the standard pill case. It's the domestics that they learn. Husband or wife is an addict and she threw something at me, or he threw something at me. She's been on these pills all day long. that officer will remember that once we start talking to him about it, thinking, I spent almost 2 weeks dealing with that case. Someone got hurt, had to go to the hospital, and then they had to go to court and testify. That's their time that you guys are paying them to deal with this epidemic because of what the pharmaceutical companies did when they lied to everyone in the country about it. It's not addictive.
How did this all begin, the litigation piece of this? Who woke up one day and went, this needs to go a different direction?
I'm not sure. I mean, that's a great question as far as who was the first.
Was it reactive, or was it reactive in nature, or was it proactive?
I think they started to learn that the deaths. I think it was as the overdoses and the death cases started to escalate, and they started drilling down to, wait a minute, why are so many people addicted to something that's supposed to be proper long-term pain management? And trial attorneys started looking into it. Families would come and, look, my kid was overdosed on this pain med, or he was into heroin, but he started with this. And that's how it really started. As far as who the first case was, and once they started filing and getting discovery and getting the emails from pharmaceutical companies and correspondence where, there's examples of emails, internal emails with some of these companies where, one sales rep is saying, hey, I just got an order for 250,000 pills for, just as way of an example, for Franklin County, and they only had 3 pharmacies. Should I fill that? That seems like a lot in the upper management. Absolutely, you fill that, circle back with them in 4 weeks and see if they need more. I mean, so the pharmaceutical companies saw it coming. They knew the red flags were popping up all over the country. They didn't care. It was about numbers. They're selling 1 year, just one company is doing $10 billion in pill sales. One company, 1 year, and they've done that since the late 90s. So 20 plus years they've been raking in that kind of money, knowing that we got an epidemic, we got an entire country that is addicted. And they're addicted because doctors have been prescribing it because they thought it was proper care. They actually hired experts to write journal articles in the mid-90s convincing the industry that this is proper care. It's great pain management, headaches, migraines, back, lower back. A lot of people have back pain. That's not a good long-term care to be on pain meds forever. You just can't. You've got to go fix the problem. So it's been an evolution, and I'm not sure who the first plaintiff's attorney or first plaintiff was to file, but they started coming fast and furious, and that's why the federal court said, okay, I don't care where it's filed in the country, it's venued in Ohio. We've got to get control of this, and we're not going to let it take the track of tobacco. Because tobacco took 10, 15 years. The judge and the federal court, and the state courts where we're filing, they're going to take a cue from the federal judge, and he's saying, we're on the fast track, we're going to resolve this, the liability's clear, now it's just a matter of how much. So, which is refreshing, the defense attorneys can't stonewall and bleed you to death for years and years and years in litigation, so. Anyway, good question. I don't think I've answered it that well, because I don't know your exact question or an answer to it. Who filed the first case, but what I can tell you is as the death cases started to get more serious or more...
Well, it just seems like it sounds like it started out probably reactive to a scenario, and a situation existed, now it's become proactive, where it's like, who else can we get involved in this so that we can go after them, is the way it kind of feels a little bit. And how far does this reach, who do we connect with, and who's in touch, and how many more people can we get on board to be part of this? To make sure that they learn the lesson, is what it feels. It seems like it feels like. That's why I asked how did it begin, because this is the way it kind of feels now, almost from a reactive, more of a proactive pursuit.
Yeah, and I think, which is great points and great way to look at it. In one sense, they strengthen numbers. Big pharma has a lot of money, and they can fight it for a long time, but there's a lot of communities with a lot of damages, and when we get together as a community, and as the communities get together, do they really want to try all these cases? Because it's not a class action. There won't be one trial. it's a mass tort, which all that means is you're going to be an individual plaintiff along with hundreds of others filed in Cook County. And if we want to go try your case, we'll go try your case, and then Purdue or Ameribergen, a big distributor, is going to have to try it against Benton, try the case against Sessa, try it against Carbondale, and they don't want to do that. So that's the other reason this firm we're going with, they have a lot, and I can get a number for you, I don't know how many communities they have on board now, but, you know, a bunch throughout the state. That's who they want to deal with, because they want to get rid of as many plaintiffs as they can in one swoop, okay?
Sure.
Let's deal with this firm, because they've got, you know, 100 municipalities on board, and we can get rid of 100 potential trials. So let's go settle with them and you know.
Put that to bed.
Right, so there's strength in numbers, for sure.
It's like having a backpack.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if that sounds acceptable, then what we need is basically a motion to opt out of the federal multi-district litigation and then to employ the services of these firms mentioned, the two from Chicago, along with Attorney Bigler. Someone would want to make that motion.
Is it two separate motions?
I think we can do that as a joint motion.
Okay. Well, I'd like to make the motion that we opt out of the MDL mass tort and that we employ, yes, I can get you off just quickly.
Quadra and then Schwartz along with Attorney
Quadra
Bigler.
Schwartz along with Bigler Law Office, that we employ them to represent us in this litigation.
I second it.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story? Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes. John, thank you very much.
I have one more question though.
Sure,
Just I'm
absolutely.
curious, how much is the percentage?
It's 1/3.
1/3? Okay.
Which is, quite frankly, very, very fair. A lot of times on these mass torts and more complicated litigation, ethically, they can go increase that normal 1/3 contingency up to 40% or more because of the complexity of the litigation, and they had chosen not to do that. Maybe some firms are, but the firm that we're with, it's a standard 1/3 contingency. And I think it actually starts a little less than that.
23%.
If it ends up a trial or appeal, then you work up
Okay.
towards that, but on average, it's a 1/3. All right, I'm going to exit, but
Thanks, John.
you guys all have my cell number, and I am serious about this. If any of you wake up at night, you can text me at night, I may not answer until in the morning, but shoot me a text, you have my cell number or an email, and say, hey, what about this? And if I don't know the answer, we'll get it from the litigation firm. But I make myself available. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, Tom.
Someone taking care of Mr. Perkins.
Are we going to pass this? Mayor, it looks like under Commissioner Perkins, at the last meeting, there was a discussion about preparing an ordinance. We've done that concerning the leachate at the wastewater treatment plant, and you'll see an ordinance in your packet. I think that Commissioner Perkins, along with the Superintendent Miles, they actually met with Citizen Tom Carter, and they put together some notes and things that we prepared an ordinance, which you'll see in your packet. We need a motion to approve that. What's that ordinance number, Brooke?
1914.
For 1914 concerning the leachate going through the wastewater treatment plant.
I make a motion that we accept this ordinance 1914, regulating the use of city names for wastewater treatment facilities to the leachate. On this leachate.
Second.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story? Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes. And the other item in your packet is there is an agreement, a contract with Perry Ridge Landfill, which is currently a contract customer. There will be an actual formal contract customer with the city of Benton concerning the transportation, the use of leachate going through the wastewater treatment plant. So we would need a motion to approve that contract with Perry Ridge Landfill at this juncture.
Make a motion that we approve the contract between Perry Ridge Landfill and the City of Benton. for leachate disposal.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes. I don't see anything else tonight under Commissioner Perkins, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Streets and improvements, Commissioner Messersohn.
Yes, I have one purchase order this evening, and it's for tires, rear tires for the backhoe, in the amount of $1,190.74 for Best One Tire of Marion. I'd like to make a motion that we approve that PO. Oh, you've already got it on there. All right.
I second that.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story? Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes. The only couple of things that I have tonight is that the Elks has moved their light parade to December 21st. You should see that there in a packet. And they have altered their parade route from the original designation. They are going to use many times back parking lot as their staging area, and they're going to head south on Industrial Park down to Bailey Lane. So they'll be closing Bailey Lane up to Bowling Alley Road the evening of December 21st. And there's no motion needs to be made or anything, just more for information that's coming. And the parade was successful last year and looking forward to doing it this year. Some have already started working on floats and actually going to bring it to the Lights Parade, or the Lights Festival along the square, which will be exciting. Last thing, we are working closely with E.G. Simons, laying on them heavily, and everything we can do to repair and finish North Main. A lot of questions have come up this week in regards to why did they lay down the binding and bring it back up. IDOT came in and tested the asphalt. It did not pass. It was not even close enough within parameters that they could even squeak by. So they forced E.G. Simons to tear it back up just on that side, and they're going to have to relay that binding back down before they put the top coat back on. So fortunately, IDOT is watching out for Benton and making sure that we have something that's done well and done correctly. So as much as I hate the potholes and hate the street, I prefer them to be taken back up and be done right. So, and there's no additional cost to the city. It's just the harassment and the mess that it is right now.
Well, we're waiting on basically the warmer weather.
We're waiting on, appropriate weather, 50 degrees, and they'll be able to get back out there on a non-inclement weather day. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
The one side is beautiful.
It is. Smooth. Makes you appreciate it.
You learn to go north and not south.
Exactly.
That's just a rough course.
What's that?
This is a rough course, it's still a fine one, you put on top of that.
That's right. It'll be even smoother. Can't wait to ride my bike on it.
I want to thank you. I know it's been a headache to an extent, and you handled that well, so thank you very much. Thank you. That's all you have.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Public Health and Safety Report, Commissioner Story.
Yeah, we're purchase order for replacement computers for the 801. They said it couldn't be repaired, so it comes to $2,861. Labor, shipping, and drive time was $112.50, $45.57, $195.60. Come to $3,200, $14.79. I make a motion to accept that for 801.
Second that.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Thank you. That's all I got.
You work last night?
16 hours.
The story is an on-call snowplower for the IDOT people, and he was out last night for 16 hours.
16.
So, thank you, first of all.
Do not drop a plow on North Main.
I'm
If you
wondering-
drop a plow on North Main, you will be
I'm
on.
wondering about that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, really, we appreciate it, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that all you have?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Accounts and Finance Report, Commissioner Garvelia.
Okay. First of all, I'm not going to spit out a bunch of numbers tonight like I did last time. The information will be online, okay? First of all, we have the approval of purchase order and monthly bills. So the monthly bills are in the amount of $397,719. $700.19. And I'd like to make a motion that we approve these bills.
Second.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
Secondly, the approval of payroll. Payroll is in, the total amount is $90,592.09, and that would be divided up into the general fund of $63,111.28, and the water and sewer fund, $27,480.81. To make a motion that we approve the amount of the total payroll of $90,592.09.
Second.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story? Commissioner Merschman?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
And I just want to put out here for everyone that there's a copy of the revenue and an expense report, and this is halfway through the year, so it's available for you to look at. If anybody wants a copy, any of the commissioners want a copy, we'll make a copy available for you. There's an extra copy there, and everything, we're on target for the year. Everything's pretty much at 50%. Some may be a little higher, some may be a little lower, given how bills come in or how accounts are paid or whatever, but we are on target, so that's available. At one time, all of this was put in the package, but because we are trying to keep down expense, the report is going to be available. We can keep it up in the break room. Anybody can look at it, and so I just want to let you know that that is available. There's no sewer adjustments this month. And going back to the Illinois Municipal Retirement Participation, I have information here again for this retirement option that we have, and tonight I'd like to make a motion that I'd like to make a motion that we participate, that we have a resolution to participate for all the commissioners and for the mayor in this IMRF. All of the information about the requirements, the 1,000 hours annually is what we need to produce in order to qualify for this. And this is something that you can either choose to be a part of or not choose to be a part of. So.
I think somebody wants to put the time in, I don't see anything wrong with it. I won't get it, but somebody might.
So you need a motion to participate in the election for the IMRF for the qualifying positions of the commissioners and the mayor, is that correct?
Yes, the commissioners and the mayor,
So someone second that motion for her?
I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Merschman?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. The next that I have is an ordinance amending the ordinance of 18-04, and this is an ordinance that amends the $2 surcharge placed upon every sewer bill. And this ordinance puts this money, let's see, this is just to amend the sewer surcharge so that we can start putting it into the fund for
Debt reduction infrastructure.
debt reduction
You
infrastructure.
just approved
Yes,
for me to
yes.
last meeting.
We did approve this, so I need an ordinance number for this.
1916.
19. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve this ordinance 1950 for the amendment of the $2 surcharge.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Merschman?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
Okay, and now I have another resolution, and this resolution is restricting the funds for the wastewater treatment plant for debt reduction and infrastructure. And I need a resolution number for this.
1918.
Pardon?
1918.
1918. And this again is something that we discussed last meeting. So this is resolution 2019-18, the resolution amending resolution number 1612 and transferring the restricted funds wastewater to the wastewater treatment plant and debt reduction and infrastructure.
It's going to break it down, Commissioners, from 40,000 and 15,000. It's still the same amount, it's 55,000, but what you're going to do is you're going to do 40,000 for debt reduction now and 15,000 for infrastructure, and that's what you agreed
And
upon at the last
We
meeting.
agreed upon that, didn't we?
Yes, we agreed upon that.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Merschman?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. City Attorney Tom Lekovich.
Mayor, I don't have any updates.
Okay, on Public Affairs, the updates, I think Rachel, for the Fall Fest, you want to say a few things about how well it was and how it went over and...
Well, sure, yeah, I'll keep it brief as usual. But we, despite the fact that we had it rescheduled for the event, for the following Saturday, we still had a fantastic turnout. We had it's really difficult to get an exact count with people coming in and out at the same time, and so we worked up a general figure between the auxiliary police and how many we did, how many people rode the hayride, and so it was between 1,200 and 1,300 people still came out to the Benton Community Park to see fall and have a part in Fall Fest. So it was fantastic. The sponsors are always great, and I just have to commend our local businesses and our local organizations for either putting in donation money to help out with the event and pay for the laser tag and things of that nature, or the organizations and businesses who come out and hand out candy and make sure that there are fun games and things like that for the kids to do. One of our biggest goals every year is to make sure that everything at the event is free for all the children, no matter where you're coming from. It doesn't matter how much you have in your pocket that day. If you show up, you get to do, everybody has the same opportunity to do everything. And that's what we were able to do this year, and it was really special. So with that in the books, now we are gearing up for Festival of Lights, which will be December 7th. It's basically kind of a commemorative year. It will be our last year that we have the square as we know it and the courthouse standing there. So we hope to make it a very special event. Thanks.
How did the park go with things? Was they cool with it? I mean, after it's all over?
I started talking to them in April
Yeah.
of this year, and so just went to every meeting that they held and gave them updates regularly. They were on board
Good.
from the get-go. This couldn't have been a better group of people to
Good.
work with.
Good
I
deal.
mean, present company,
Yeah.
exception, right? Okay, thank you.
And is there already a date for 2020? Did you say that you've already spoken with Scooter around 2020?
We have, and so we're actually working with the high school and with cross-country, so we don't have the same kind of short amount of time for preparation for next year's event. And it wouldn't have happened that way this year Had it not been for the, you know,
The weather.
crazy rain, that we had the Saturday it was scheduled for before. So, once we get that worked out, it'll probably be, the second or third, Saturday of October.
So it won't fall on Halloween, which is next year Halloween's on a Saturday. so-
It's actually on a Saturday,
It's excellent.
and I believe that we have not only sectionals next year at the Benton Community Park, but we also have the regional, we're holding the regional event as well. So it's 2 weekends where it will, they'll be packed to the
At the
gills,
Benton
so
Park.
we can't do that, so.
Good.
What's amazing about that Saturday, which is Saturday before last, we had scholar athletes in Benton that won both of their events. We had a cross-country at the park, a sectional cross-country, had 41 schools that came into our area. The people responsible for setting up the park and flagging the course and everything were phenomenal. We had a tremendous amount of volunteers. After they left, which was about 1 each or so,
Yeah.
the volunteers decided that I should be going to the football game, to watch the football game, get out of their hair, so they, over here,
Is it your job?
they set up the park, and I mean, it was a big deal. Benton was alive that day, and it just shows us what we know, is that Benton is an exceptional place, and we have exceptional people working and volunteering. Without volunteers, and it's a broken record, it's been it for 4.5 years. We could not do what we do without volunteers. First responders are fantastic. The street and water departments, everybody joined in, and I didn't hear an unkind word of anyone. At the football game, with 28 seconds left, there was some unkind words being spoken. But after we scored the touchdown and went for the extra point or whatever, it was fine. So I just want to thank Benton. I want to thank, I always thank the girls here, and Kay and Rachel and everybody that was involved. They just did a tremendous job. And the people for turning out and going to the festival. You can throw a party and nobody shows up. You know, it's a disaster. We had a big crowd, a huge crowd. So thank you, okay? And bigger and better next year.
No pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it was a perfect storm. You know, it had rain delay, we had sectionals, we had playoff games, we had, you know, it's just perfect storm. And it was handled well, so thank you. Need to go into executive session about the real estate property on 202 East Main Street, which we will. On Part E, discussion and approval of City Hall office hours of 7:30 to 4 o'clock with a 30-minute lunch period. In my 10 years, 4.5 years, I've noticed a trend, and I'm here enough that we have an influx of people in the morning coming to do business, and frankly, there's a down period from 3:30 to 5, which hardly anybody comes through our doors. So most of the working hours that people work in our community and in our area are from 8 to 5, and that creates a problem for a lot of people because we aren't open at 8 o'clock until 8 o'clock, and they're at their workforce. We close at 5 o'clock, and they're leaving their workforce. So the girls came to me who work in the office, and they sat down with me and explained that if we opened at 7:30, we could catch the people before they went to work at 8, and that would solve a problem for the people who have an issue with 8 to 5 jobs. So that made sense. They elected to take a 30-minute lunch break instead of an hour lunch break. So there's no extra pay for this. I mean, the pay schedule will not be any different than it is right now. So it sounded good to me. They're excited about it. I think we agreed to start at December the 1st. Excuse me, January the 1st.
What's the date?
Which, I don't know, right now.
December the 1st is what it was supposed to be.
12/1.
I get the word ASAP. And I've been part of some of the conversations
Yeah,
ladies
please.
have had, if I can. One thing that I have understood and seen is that when the ladies come in, people are standing at the door waiting when they come in. One thing I might suggest, and I don't know how this would look, I'd leave it to your department, is that maybe they take on a slightly staggered schedule, so that they either one of them came in at 7 or 7:15, so they've got a few minutes to get themselves ready. So rather than people coming up and go, wait a minute, let me boot up the computer, wait a minute, let me turn some things on, wait a minute, let me turn on the lights, it might be necessary to have a slight buffer. So if one of them worked from 7:15 to 3:45, maybe they alternated that, just to give a few minutes to set up before the office officially opens, that might also help expedite people. So if people show up at 7:30, they're not waiting for us to get ready to receive them at 7:30. We are ready to receive them at 7:30. And I don't know what that startup time would be, but I know that there's computers to turn on and doors to open, and it's a small window, but it might make things a little more relaxed and help expedite people if they do come in at
So
7:30.
the city hall's open, they're starting at 7:30, city hall's opening at 7:30, right?
You guys know.
Officially, yes.
Yeah. So if City Hall opened at 7:30, my thought would be
Yeah.
that the lady would come in, one of the ladies, and they could rotate or figure out whatever that would need to be, would come in at 7:15, or I don't know that they need.
And they can take care of that internally.
Exactly.
I think the motion tonight is the office hours,
Right.
7:30
Right.
before a 30-minute lunch. So that would be what the motion would need to be this evening.
Sure.
I make a motion that the office hours be established for City Hall from 7:30 to 4:30
Second.
to,
Oh,
sorry, 4 o'clock,
Yeah.
7:30 to 4 o'clock. It's been bantered around different times. From 7:30 to 4 o'clock with a 30-minute lunch break for the employees at City Hall.
To start December 1st.
To start December 1st.
Are you sure?
I second.
Commissioner Gervail.
Yes.
Commissioner Story.
Yes.
Commissioner Messersohn.
Yes.
Mayor Condon.
Yes. Discussion or approval of proclamation for National Apprenticeship Awareness and Appreciation.
I just said it is. We have. You want me to read that?
Or just the heading and just a synopsis of what it is for everybody.
This is a proclamation with the Midwest Region of Laborers International Union of North America, on behalf of the Skilled and Trained membership of the LIUNA Midwest Region. And it is brought to us by John Penn. He's the Vice President and Midwest Regional Manager of the Laborers International Union of North America. And he calls upon all of the trades and industry partners to recognize the importance and value of registered apprenticeship programs and to take into measure the needs of the skilled workforce moving forward during National Apprenticeship Awareness and Appreciation Week, which is November 18th through 22nd.
What brought this on? Jim Hobby, who's, I guess, the administrator of the union, local union for the employees. The American workforce has gone to have gone through cycles, and one of the cycles we're in right now is technology, and no one is doing the wrench thing or hammering the nail or screwing the screw. You know, we need to have people who actually are trained to be laborers, and I think the pendulum swung that. We're going into a system in our United States and even the state of Illinois where, I mean, I was told with the road construction that the labor union are really out of work, which is a good situation, but it's a bad situation if you need help. So what we're doing is that we're complimenting the labor union and giving them a proclamation that, you know, we understand what they're doing. They want to have people become plumbers and laborers and concrete finishers and house builders and things of that nature. So that's what the proclamation's for. And I think it's good. It's a trend that's heading in the right direction. Any comments? You've seen this?
Yeah, I think that's a big piece of it is, I mean, and even the regional education office, they're focusing a lot on trades and construction trades specifically, and then Red Lake College they're continuing to push out degrees and licenses that allow people within a year to 2 years that they can come out as a certified plumber, they can come out as a certified welder, or electrician, or construction trade. So there is definitely a driving need for that. Just personal experience, it's difficult in the area to find people that have trades experience that are willing to work. So having apprenticeships and having a pipeline for raising up people in the trades is going to become a key component.
Commissioner Story can just tell you it's a recent situation.
Yeah,
He's a emergency
yeah, that's just.
snow pusher.
Yeah, it's just something that keeps me out of mischief.
He had to buy special boots to wear.
And I don't wear them.
But I bought them. Strike that from the contract.
So we need to do a motion for this proclamation.
Yeah.
Oh, do we need a motion? Okay. Well, I make a motion that we accept this proclamation and honor and respect these apprenticeships and trades.
Second.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
This is coming at the right time with coal miners laying off too. Shutting down.
Okay, any miscellaneous business? Any old business? Any new business? Any matters from the public? Yeah, I discussed.
See. Did you just see?
You would catch that.
Yeah.
Part C, discussion or approval of amending time in December 23rd council meeting. We come up with a situation where, that's Christmas week, and everything falls for some reason on that week. But our council meeting suggestion of having it on December the 23rd at 4 p.m. Any comments?
You're gonna have party too?
I don't know. Possible. But I guess, can everybody make it, or, is it an inconvenience?
I don't know about, that's what I was going to say, Commissioner Perkins,
Can you have a forum here? If the three of you to be here,
Oh, I'm sure I can.
that'd be fine then, just need that motion. To start at 4 o'clock, Mayor, the regular scheduled meeting at 4 on the 23rd. Okay.
Just need a motion for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Make a motion that on December 23rd, we do a regularly scheduled business meeting at 4 p.m.
Second.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes, you'll have to remind me, Brett.
Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes. Getting the 13 matters in the public audience. Tom?
I don't know who went up to the Illinois Transportation meeting for the airport this year. I'm assuming you did again?
Yes.
Well, it's probably been about a year since I brought this up. Has anybody ever begun work on finding out what obligations we have on each piece of property at the airport? So if we get the interchange and we get the new terminal, we can actually utilize the property.
Yeah, go ahead. Rachel was there, and she, a lot of, first of all, to answer your question, yes, we are looking into it. There's 3 or 4 different types of people that are involved, and Rachel can explain to you if you want. She was involved in that.
Mr. Tom, and, we can anytime,
Well, every time you get a grant on anything,
I know.
it's got certain things, restrictions or obligations to it, and
yeah.
I want to know what one is on each property so that we can utilize that property whenever we get the interchange in.
Right, and that's something, I had asked, about two IDOT aeronautics up there, and they referred me back to Brown and Roberts. And so I put in a request for what's called Appendix A, which is a piece or parcel by parcel explanation of what our responsibilities and obligations are for each one of those pieces. So,
Okay.
yeah, whenever I get Appendix A, I'll have the answers for you.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
And the ordinance for the leach it, I've given Lee some information to give to Commissioner Perkins, but I did not have her meet with them. I thought we were going to, but they never did. So it'll be interesting. I still need to get a copy of each one of those and look it over and see how they did.
Of the ordinance?
The ordinance and the contract.
Yeah, I did, I passed that on to Commissioner Perkins and put that in his box. And
Well, like I said, they talked about meeting, but they never did.
They never did
So,
meet? Yeah. Yeah, we'll have completed copies available if so requested.
The interchange and the different parcels of land out there is changeable right now. But I tell you what, you know, I've been impressed with the IDOT aeronautical people, and they've been impressed with us, which is a good thing to trade back and forth. Over the 2 or 3 years we've been going up there, the first visit was, I was told they probably didn't want us up there and blah, 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 you know, but we have a good relationship with them, and they're really sharp people.
I think you were the first mayor that ever went up there, Fred, to be truthful.
Well, and, you know, I'm glad I did, if that's the case, but anyway, it's in good hands, and the interchange and the airport and the aeronautics and the land that's privately owned and the land owned by EDC, everything's gonna be interwoven, and it's gonna be a very good project.
Well, see, that's the only purpose for that new terminal, is to enhance it for the businesses that should be out there.
When they start that terminal, have we come up with a date on it?
Well, I mean, David, here time period is fall of 2020, right? And it should be started then, and it's gonna be pretty quick as far as getting it completed.
They're looking forward to it out there.
And then after that, we've got a lot of things that we plan to do, flight training school and a whole bunch of things. So the airport's gonna become an asset to the city of Benton.
I do.
Thanks to you for looking into it.
Well, this one's not too good. I do criticize the engineer, Roberts and Brown, because I think that they should have added in, instead of using that old septic tank, they should have added in an extension, because the state would provide almost all the money anyways, and they could have extended that sewer system on from Blue Ridge on out there to the airport, which would have been.
We talked about doing that, extending that.
Have they done anything with it though?
When we went up there, we addressed that, thank you, Fred. We did address that with them, and they said that they were going to discuss that, because
It's right
it
there.
is an,
It's
yeah,
only common
it is
sense,
an
yeah.
ancient septic system, and so, yeah, we did bring that to their
No,
attention,
Greg
that
said
we
it
were
wouldn't be that big a
interested in
deal.
that.
No, you're right.
Great, sounds great.
Yeah, and they're gonna start bidding on that, sometime in December on that project.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more thing. We did get in the final audit report, the annual fiscal, or the annual financial report, what's on the agenda. But this, again, I will just put it up in the break room for view, and anybody that wants, any of you who want a copy.
I have a digital copy right now, that's why we just have a photocopy. Friday, the hardbound will be delivered, so if anybody does want an audit, you're welcome to come in City Hall, and we'll provide you with one.
Anything else? We need a motion to go into executive session to discuss the purchase of real estate on East Main Street, 203 East Main Street.
on this motion to discuss real estate, commercial, what is it? Commercial?
Yeah, east of real estate property on 202 East Main Street.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner
What is
Story?
the location?
Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Hey, Tom?
Kenny, you never give a baby at home.
I know.
He wants me to rock him around.
What's that?
You got a baby puppy, he wants me to rock him all the time.
Well, yeah.
All right.
Can't imagine somebody would spoil the dog.
Okay, I'm just curious how it came out.
Do you just want a copy of it? May I give you
Yeah,
a copy of
I'd like
that?
to read it.
Because I'm not gonna.
I give you one.
And we will
I made out.
so we will get, Austin and Stephen over.
I
will
Thank you.
So now,
Did it work out pretty good?
Just make, we make this a grammatical change.
Are you?
The substance we do.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Well,
how it came out.
Now, is it your
Um,
source?
Never really on the way. Today, my drainage, my drainage has been like more yellow and yuck and stuff. Wish they would have just given me something before, and just been done with it, but anyway. So we're not gonna hold a meeting this Thursday, because I thought, well, you know, yes. So, next pretty day, I'm gonna go, and what I wanna do is, so I was talking to Dixie, and she's looking like I was nuts, but she looking like.
Oh, that's great, yeah. Because I really
She and I
appreciate
talked about,
information on that anyway. Thanks, Fred.
going in, and I wanna do an inventory of the shed. And what I'd like to do is, since a bunch of that stuff in there is all old school,
Chicago will turn.
you know, it's like very, I don't know, 40 years ago versus now.
So all municipalities have to,
Already want all the lights in the garden and everything, so that goes over to.
all municipalities
Things
have
like men
to
and those kids tomorrow.
opt out
Like a
in
guy
order
over there
to not be
tomorrow,
named
who
in
was
that
done all the,
federal lawsuit.
Probably because it's a
fire
class
department
action
supposed to
deal.
do
Yeah.
an inventory of all the lights
Why-
around the square.
why shot?
So what I was thinking was, I got a whole bunch
That's what we've
of
done rough on
LED
that.
tube
It's
lights.
been done many times.
And this stuff is actually, battery operated, like what we talked about with the other stuff. So we could do one of two things, we can use some of the lights that we have, that we never used at Fall Fest, or we can get this tube lighting, which I think would be a better idea, because the tube lighting is protective, it'll, you know, it's more durable. Yeah, November, here we are. So, I was thinking that, you know, some of the plywood cutouts and things that we have in there? We could touch those up, that'd be great, but then, you know, how they had all the,
See ya.
here, all the ones stuck through the wood and all that stuff, that's crazy. We don't like to do that, the technology wasn't there before, but it is now. Let's just staple some of those tube lights on there and bring some of that stuff back to life and set it around the square. And I talked to Bart, because, I mean, Shane and I even went so far, sorry, I've got new bangs, and they're weird to me, I'm still like getting used to them. But we even went so far as to talk about cutting down the trees on the west side of the courthouse, and putting the big giant, steel tree there instead. They're just too big, I don't know what kind of trees they are, cedar trees maybe. But anyway, then we decided that we wouldn't be able to do that, because when we do the lighting of the square, nobody can see it.
That's true.
Yeah, it's kind of apart. Yeah, so we're just gonna leave a big tree there. Then Bart and I talked about, maybe we could light those trees. But then, how do we do that? I mean, some tall trees. wasn't being able to do it, the fire department's already fighting me. Like, they're already bucking me about doing the tops of the buildings. Yeah, so, we'll see about Shane. I don't know. Like, he's really hating City Hall right now. Like, the only people he doesn't mind are me and Fred. Like, Fred and I are really the only two people he'll talk to. Anyway, so he is really unhappy about that. But, so all that being said, it's hard to get him to, yeah. So even if, you know, we can get the bare minimum.
Now, is Lenny going to take care of the Snoopy setup?
I've asked her a couple times, still haven't really gotten any on it, so.
Because we need to get a yes on it, because she was saying that it's the same time as the madrigals, and Lenny's daughter's leaving the madrigals.
So imagine it's Friday, it's not, no. I think Angie's wrong.
Last year she's going to be able to help us as well. No, because it's the same time period as the madrigals.
I asked
I'm just trying to.
Gretchen, because that's why I said it on this date, was because I worked with Gretchen on it, you know, Bennett,
Right.
and she was like, no, her shit. She was like, well, I can do the 7th. And I said, okay, great. And that's why I did that. Our Christmas concert is December 12th, and then there's a basketball game on the 13th. Okay, hold on. So there's a slight hang up. Okay, so here it is, because I said, let me go back a little farther. Job.
Seeing that you're gonna be here tomorrow, I won't pay you, but this all makes sense down to this last line. That last line does not make any sense.
The contract customer shall be responsible for permit and reporting requirements.
Yeah, but, he will not have a permit. We've got the permit. He's supposed to, they're saying up here, whereas the regulation and testing are necessary, okay? So he's supposed to be, paying for testing of the leaches ever so often, you know what I mean, for evaluation. But he has no reporting requirements other than giving them the lab results. So, shall be responsible for, submitting, appropriate lab results to the city. Like I said, this, here doesn't make any sense, because they have no permit. They've got a contract,
Right, they have, yeah.
but they don't have a permit.
Okay.
If you give me two of these things, so here's one.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's no big problem or anything like that. It just, like I said, the last sentence does not make any sense, because they won't have a permit with us.
Right.
They got a contract. Shall be responsible for adhering,
I see that.
how about responsible for adhering to the contract and reporting requirements.
Right. Yeah, so I see up here that, like, Prairie Ridge, for example, they would be, the other entities would be the contract customers. Desire to use our facility. And then, you're right, down here it says, shall be responsible for permit reporting requirements.
It's our permit.
Right, it would be our first, yeah.
He just simply, he needs to change the wording on that last sentence to reflect reality and
Right.
then go on, basically.
So it wouldn't be that, it'd be.
Responsible for adhering to, the ordinance, the ordinance. Yeah, adhering to the city ordinance and, lab testing. I mean, that's about it.
Reporting.
don't even know if you need that, as long as you got it here until the ordinance,
Yeah.
but permit doesn't make any sense.
No.
There, take care of that for me.
Hey, I'll do.
Take care of the light work, would you?
Right. Yeah, this covers everybody, this isn't just figured rate,
Yeah.
this is everybody. I haven't read this.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's not a big deal, it's just that
Yeah.
isn't correct right there. It
Yeah.
should be responsible for adhering to the ordinance.
Yeah. And as long as that's right,
And, you know,
right through it all.
and the other thing is, we're assuming that it's the landfill, actually, it could be a contract operator hauling from the landfill, who's not, doesn't belong to the landfill, who's actually got the
middleman.
contract. See,
Yeah.
so, I don't even know if I have
Well,
landfill.
no, I
I'd probably
mean-
have the, contract customer is responsible for adhering to the ordinance.
No, I would think it would be the landfill, because even if they have a middleman for the delivery, that person or that company would have responsibility to the landfill, right? They have a contract with the landfill
Yeah.
would ultimately be responsible for the content that they're hauling, right? When you think,
Unless you dump it in the creek, and the landfill
Right.
can say, we had nothing to do with it.
yeah, like it was in their hands.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Fresh.
Inventory,
Yeah.
like maybe on Saturday.
At least you get your info out.
So.
No?
I'm on- I'm on my-
That's not right.
Yeah,
I don't
scheduled
know.
for
Go and check and
the
see
last
who
sentence.
you know, would be
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
That should have one.
It did, yeah, and then I'll call Sandy, or you can call Sandy, and they'll let us start.
In the end, it's still minor, but it could come back to bite you someday.
Yeah, definitely.
Can I make a motion, we go back to regular session?
I second it.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Messersohn?
Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we discussed the possible purchase of the real estate located at 202 East Main Street, executive session, so we need a motion to allow zoning administrator David Garvelia to move forward with attempting to negotiate the purchase of that particular property, which is located in our downtown TIF area.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Yes.
Good night.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Pretty good.